future, who I be, Elohim, Crenshaw, land, DB, a divine being, CBI, 3D, Illuminati can't stop me, non-ether, before BCE, we exist, from now to infinity, infinity, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, time travel past, fresh stroke, let's go, Miz, we don't play, expand, labyrinth, pinhead, box in, Tetris, blow, tie sticks, scanners explode, mental bits into blitz, dark eclipse from cyclopeans, shadow hand, rock to its cradle, sacrifice Judah, kiss from the navel, sign of the time, COVID, I can't stop, king shot, a universal mind, we are divers, our past be stone and lava, on Easter Island, the Bible more holes, Elohim and Ronald, past dead sentences for the future already written. From the profane, it was hidden like a hand unseen, trying to dose with vaccines. Hebrew war machines, arch degree in infinity, divine being who I be. Prince Charlandine, the mighty Hebrew, give you the spark. Those that bark without bite, we all rustle your heart. From the slums of honey palm back to the back to the future, Elohim, French, Charlandine, be a divine being, CPI, 3D, Illuminati can't stop me, non-ether, before BCE, we exist, from now to infinity, infinity, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, HP, I was born, watching storms, down laymen, and marching uniforms, leaving without form, she closed where was born, dancing in the moonlight, grinning, seen with strength, body tense from meditating strength within, cosmic spoon spin to the wind from real blacksmith. Endless, I mastered the balance. Yuga to the Buddha, blowing the bless to medulla, reaching the isolated world. Iron soft, the endless, stay focused, toasting the host. Back to the future, back to the future, who I be, M Crenshaw, and be a divine being, CBI, 3D, Illuminati can't stop me, non-ether, before BCE, we exist, from now to infinity, infinity, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. Here we come, Tanzania. Yeah. 2021 and beyond. Mind, mental is never destroyed. Shalom Bahashim Yahweh HaKodesh Israel. This is the tribal minister Prince Charlandine, Ben Ami Motazar Yambin Yasha'Allah Senior, the mighty Hebrew. I give all praise and honor to Yahweh, the supreme, intelligent, powerful one of our forefathers. For their hand be Skak and Yaakov, those striving for righteousness' sake. I say unto the family, Shalom Aleichem. It's definitely an honor and a privilege to be here today, Israel. Oh man, I pray that the family is well. I'm saying, so yeah, I'm just getting a link real fast. Today, Israel. So forgive me. Okay, so I'm getting a link and make sure that others can watch this piece. I pray everybody's doing well today. So before we start, I'm gonna get into a scripture. Let's see how this turns out. Let's see if this there we go. Yep, cool. So we live right now. I'll put it in for everybody. Yep. Hallelujah. Again, giving all praise and unto Yahweh, the supreme, intelligent, powerful one of our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, those striving for righteousness' sake. I say unto the family, Shalom Aleichem. Before I start, I want to read a verse real quick out of the scripture. Hold on. I want to read the 20 verses 1 to 3, which reads, Wine is the modest, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. The fear of a king is as the roaring of a lion. Whoso provoketh him to anger sinneth against his own soul. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife, but every fool will be meddling. That's also inclusive with Proverbs chapter 17, verse 14. Now let's get straight to the point of the subject matter. The question is, what has the Black conscious community done for Israel? Um, well, if we really examine the question, then the answer is relevant. The answer is like right there in your face. Really nothing. Now, for Israel, we have done much in the sight of the so-called Black conscious community. Yes, I see y'all. I see y'all piling up. I see y'all now. Um, if it wasn't for the Hebrew Israelite nation, the Black conscious community wouldn't be known the way that they're known, you know, on a global, well, if you want to say global, but on a social media level, because it has always been Israel that has been the center of all subject matter when it comes to attention seeking. So I just want to let the world know at large that we as Israel now have to come by the way of our own body politic under Torah Constitution and start building our own social constructs. There's no need to wallow with people who has nothing but hate and malice to our nation and display nothing but pure negativity when it comes to our people and our nation. Because Israel is doing a lot of great things worldwide that's not even being documented by, not even a lot of our own people. See, as Israelites, we have to come into the reality that we have to self-preserve ourselves. We got to stop doing it because, it was something that Zion Lex pointed out yesterday on his podcast, which I must agree. We do have this tendency of, you know, promoting and donating to other people. But then when it comes to your own people, you don't do no form of donations. See, that's a sad case right there of, you know, denationalization. It should be a crime for people that say they have a nation, but they don't even support their nation. I done seen Israelites give these black conscious cats thousands upon thousands of dollars, and all they've been doing is spreading mischief and lies to our people continuously. Them days are over. Them days are over. We have to now come into the grip and say, you know what, we're going to self-preserve ourselves. We're going to, support ourselves like that food before us, by us. All Israel. That's the level of consciousness we have to be on today. We can't be on nothing else. We know that there's differences in the Israelite community. We know that. But what nation don't have differences? But what we're not going to do is let another, anti-Hebrew Israelite minded person paint the narrative about us, because that's what they're doing. They're painting this false narrative about us because we're putting in the work and they're not. So it's like whoever the conqueror is in history, they the ones that they can draw the conclusion about you when it comes to you being remembered in the hereafter, meaning the next generations to come after us. You know what I'm saying? We can't have these people tell our history in negative light. We have challenged those that say this about the Hebrews, that about the Hebrews, because quiet as it's kept, the Hebrews are doing more groundwork throughout Africa and throughout South America and Central America more than these Afrocentric cats and black conscious cats. That's just the truth. And what they do is they try to show or paint this negative picture about Israel to the point that people don't be involved in that. So we have to be very mindful and very careful who we say are or have our interests or who say they are our brother or our sisters or our cousin. It's like, like the brother Zion Lex was saying, it's hard to fight somebody face to face while you're getting stabbed in the back by somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So, this is why, myself and other leaders in Israel, we're like, look, we don't even want to deal with any of the so-called black conscious platforms. We build our own selves. We don't need going on DJ Los. We don't need the others that's not rocking what we rocking with. Their support. Their, it's all that to do with their own platform. But this was all outlined in the COINTELPRO paper. So none of this type of behavior for real, should really surprise us because Islam, Lord, / Shalom, my Lord. You know what I'm saying? So none of this should surprise us the way that these people act when it comes to manifesting a disadvantage in our like, why all these, black conscious podcasts strictly about showing the dysfunction within these organizations and movements, whether if they're talking ill about the Moors, whether they're talking ill about the children of Israel / the Hebrew Israelite sovereign nation, whether they're talking ill about the nation of God's and earth, nation of Islam, whatever the case, the new Wabi, whatever the case it may be, it's always ill talking, no building. Where you at building? You say you love Africa, but we here in Africa and we don't see y'all. We don't see y'all on the ground. We don't see y'all anywhere in sight. But y'all know so much about Africa and y'all have so much love about Africa or for Africa. The ones you bang on, the Hebrews, they the ones that's holding the fort down. That's kind of strange to me that y'all want us to throw away the Torah, right? The Tanakh, the prophecies of our forefathers, going back to our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. You want us to throw that away, but you don't have nothing to replace it for the embetterment of our people because all y'all doing is wallowing in America, talking all this insanity, but y'all not putting in no type of work that we can see progress, social progress, social progress. Okay, Bokuto. Yeah, because it's like right now, let me see, it's 5:10 a.m. So I know over there is so it's probably like 9 o'clock East Coast, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, West Coast, stuff like that. But again, I see it's growing. But getting back to the point, we waste too much valuable time on people or lovers that don't have no heart towards us. We don't have to no more run to these platforms. Like let them do them. Like, this is what I'm saying. We got to stop going on the House Consciousness, Dagger Squad, any of them, said black conscious, places that's only trying to discredit Israel. They don't never have no type of engagement like these brothers is doing this, they doing that. You notice they don't never speak upon that because what it does is it challenges what they're doing, what they're not doing. And that's what they don't want. They don't want to be, well, on none of the stuff, you know, the Hebrews are doing way more than what they're doing. So they don't really want to get involved on levels like that. So what they do is they try to find, like you got this one dude, I forgot his name, but all he do is go on social media just to find anything negative about the Israelites in the past and post that. Notice it be mainly our own people. It's our people that gave people like Vocab Malone information to try to discredit Israel. It's people like that. You know what I mean? It be our own people. It's sad to say, but 9 times out of 10, it's our own people that stab you in the back. But I want to read something to y'all. Let's start at Wayikra, chapter 27. Chapter 26, start at verse 27, which reads, "And if ye were not for all this hearkening to me, but walk contrary unto me, then I will walk contrary unto you as a fury, and I, even I, will chastise you 7 times." For this also aligns 59:18 in Ezekiel 5:13. "And ye shall eat the flesh of your sons, and the flesh of your daughters shall ye eat." This is also in alignment with Deuteronomy 28:53. Okay, eat the flesh. Okay, that can be literal because historically we did that. You know what I mean? But let's talk about it figuratively, which transforms historically. We have a tendency of destroying our own people and anything that we try to build upon. You notice so-called black people have a tendency of destroying things that they built. You notice every time a so-called black man, woman, a child try to do something, it's always our people eating it up, meaning tearing it down. It said right there what we just read. Let me go back to that again. "And ye shall eat the sons and the flesh of your daughters." Now, again, that can be taken literal as to be today, based upon how we treat each other and tear each other down. It's as, our flesh. This is the same thing on the day with the black conscious community, constantly at odds with Israel. Now, it's a difference when you critique something and you say this and that's that. But when this is oops, we're gonna say about okay, there it go. But when you you know that becomes a concern. That's the problem. These guys are making a living trying to be with out that. It's internet. That's that's what I'm saying. It's identity. Because Israelite nation is Okay, how many books you write, Garfield? Waiting for you to bring this out so I can my second straight. Real true scholar would put out there the good and the bad. Only bring all the time. There's an agenda. There's an agenda. You know what I'm saying? There's an agenda. He's going to sit out to see on unless they have a. And if you look at these guys, YouTube pages, Facebook pages, 90% of what we put out there is to be against Israel. That's a fact. That's a fact that they're making a living off of this. This is what I'm saying. Israel, you have to pull back from these podcasts, man. You got to do your own and the game over there. They're trying to victorious by the way they beliefs, whereas we not that or any of them Afrocentric beliefs. Not to say there isn't certain truths. That's not the absolute. Our mission is totally different. Says they so crazy that even when they banging on the Hebrews, they still banging on the Morse. We at the hip all day, brother. I already know. Always bang, but they're not doing nothing in the community. Like this whole Juneteenth, what's this thing, babe? This Juneteenth, what is it called?
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Yeah, like everybody like is over this day. We wasn't even free. Listen, federal government put their hand in something. Trust me, they about to, it's about being able to keep their motherfucking hand in a cookie jar, and that's a fact. And anybody that play these games and say different, they fooling themselves. This, you know what I mean? Black people, man, they really think because a white man approves something, they free. And if you notice, all these federal funded like black events, notice they're all backed up by the black conscious community. That's them. Because you got to remember that whole thing about Kemet being the foundation of civilization, when we know it's not. The oldest civilizations go back to Tamana, which is known today as ancient Lemuria, and Patala or Atala, also known as Atlantis. That's a fact, man. And going back to the Polarian root epic and the Hyperborean root epic, man, we talking about 320 million BCE. But our Osiletic world of existence go back to 311 trillion 40 billion years ago. And they telling me about some young Africa, which is a product of volcanic eruptions and floods that took place to form what we know today as Grabansi or Africa. We've always been on the planet. We are the planet. You see what I'm saying? So getting back to my point, anytime of these fun events, they're always behind it. Just like that Black Lives Matter. Nobody didn't tell us that this was ran by transgender women, which are men that's trying to transform themselves into women, and backed up by the LGBT community. This ain't have nothing to do with dealing with the social fabric, family nucleus. It had nothing to do with that. It was everything of severing the original man from out of the equation of the so-called black family experience. But when you develop into a state of blackness, which is really the mentally dead, because these are really defining terms of statuses. Whether you're talking about white being enlightened and black being unconscious, we know that there is a caste system that permeates throughout the United States. And you can also see that caste trickle down in the black conscious community, because you got to remember the black conscious community and their thoughts developed from out of these Greek fraternal orders throughout these said black colleges, such as Howard University. You got to remember, you got the Boule Society, which are the advisors of the king, which is a splinter group of the Skull and Bone. So you got the black conscious community today would be considered your house niggas. You remember, like these are the guys in the colleges. You go to the Black Studies Department or Africanian Studies Department. The apex of their research is Kemet. That's why when you see brothers like Jabari and all these guys that went to these universities, their whole premise be on Kemet, because that's what they teach at the universities. And remember, the Greeks were tutelage by the people of Kemet. So because the Greeks believed that Kemet was the foundation, this is why you have these black studies that's on that. That's really Greco-Roman Hellenistic thought. They center everything around Egypt, saying this is what they did. They center everything around Egypt. And their societies think Egypt or Kemet. Also, we know that the word Egypt is a misnomer. We know that. We know that's totally Greek. We know that. The whole point that we saying is that we've always been on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is that we tell our time by cycles and seasons. And in that retrospect, you know what I'm saying? We know we got a beginning, but we not vibing like that. We just tell them we've always been here. Now, if you want to, go into other fields of, traveling, you know what I mean? We traveling on other levels, right? And higher understandings of the esoteric, then we can go there too on that. But that's not the point. The point is the black conscious community, they're not doing anything for the Israelites. We've done everything for them. You know what I mean? When the biggest event the black conscious community put together with Israelites, we always were the ones that brought the money. And that's what it's been about. This hasn't been about any type of redemption for black people as a whole. Now, yes, these events and discussions have helped some people here and there individually, but it's not a tremendous impact. It's more of a negative. More people are getting a negative taste in their mouth about Israel than the positive. Why? Because we letting those with a Euro Gentile that's not even within the nation tell the history. That's the problem that we have. The problem that we have is the telling of the history. You got people that know nothing about Israel for real, based on what they've been told. Not actually know. Or if they read any research about us, they always read it from a biased researcher. See, I've been. That's why they can never converse with me in a sit down, because I know everything they're gonna come with is gonna be biased view from enemy. It shows that they're ones that are really anti-revolutionary. They are the ones that are going against the grain for real, not us. We in Africa. We in these areas, life, and see none of these. And I'm telling you, all this, that, these people over here in the country don't know nothing about no fucking Kemet. Now you got areas where they've been influenced here in Tanzania, but areas that they've been influenced in certain parts of Africa. You know what I mean? But shit, let's see some influences of people in Africa. What that mean? Look at the Ghana prince, not the Ghana prince, the Ghana president. Let me show y'all. Oh, there's no penetration, and let me show y'all something. Let me see if I can pull this up. Yeah, I got it right here. So look at this madness right here. I'll do it real quick. So I just send it to him. Look at the president of Ghana. See, this is the games that I be talking about. You see? This is what happens when you don't understand who you are. Look, you see that problem? This is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem on this. So what I'm saying is this, you know, all these guys I notice that are like presidents in Africa, not all of them, they eat like cat flick, go Muslim, but they're also Pan-African. So Pan-Africanism has been throughout Africa for many, many decades. African people closer to each other yet. Why? Because everybody not the same. See, that whole concept that we're all the same, we're all Africans, all this shit is bullshit, man. It's bullshit. No, we of the same nation, meaning so-called African Americans, so-called West Indian Bantu speaking tribes. But, everybody is not the same. That has to be made clear. The Black conscious community has put that out there, or the so-called Black conscious community, because they identify with anything that got a dark face. They identify with them. That's a people that don't know who they are and don't understand that nations of the earth operate like that. Okay? They don't operate like that. So to say all this is to say, what do we need from these people? If the only thing they showing almost is said this community, what do we need them for? Why they around? When you got people shooting up the Bible, saying that F your power, disrespecting your parents, disrespecting your wives and husbands, in your personal business. Why would we continue to deal with people like this? Why? Because for real, as real men and women from back in the day, a lot of these suckers would have been broke the fuck up by now. And y'all know it. And what kills me is some of these people that do these things from the said Black conscious community, they know better than that. They know if men were still men, they wouldn't be getting away with the things that they doing. The so-called sad conscious Black conscious community, they the ones that brought the feds into the equation of this said Black conscious community in Hebrew on social media. You know what I mean? These guys, boy, them federal, like, I done heard, I ain't even gonna put out there how said prestigious, said black conscious scholars called the feds on other scholars to get them locked up. Come on, call them directly on their waves, the FBI, to investigate your brother or your sister. That's what I'm saying. These guys are counter revolutionists, man. When you ever seen a revolutionist get on social media and call the police live on that person? That's what I'm saying, man. These guys are crazy, man. They're crazy. And anybody that's following behind these crazy as them. That's just a fact. Like, you know that these people are dealing with feds. Y'all know this. Most of them black conscious cats, they dealing with some type of federal type shit, working with the government, working with the police. They be heavy into that. Come on, man. Facts. This is not something that I'm making up. These are things that are known among the conscious. Why would we deal with people when they got the feds involved? When they got FBI informants involved? Come on, man. You got them all over around us, man. So there's no need for us to deal with these people. We need to basically make our culture, way of life, something like a secret society. Which you're not getting no information. Everybody should deny interviews from them. We shouldn't rally with them. Nothing. Tear us down and try to. That's what the European. That's how you know that they are part of the problem and they counter revolutionists, because any Europeans that conquered another people, they tore them down and they built them in their own image. And that's what the so-called conscious community try to do to Israel, but worshiping them deities, period. We are unique, separate people, period. You cannot, what they try to do is they try to make it seem as though everybody's African, right? And what we're dealing with is not African. So if you can constantly drill that in people, it'll cause them to disperse from the Hebrew Israelite culture, because in their mind, they think this is not a black culture based on numbskull that haven't did no groundwork, that really don't know the in-depthness of what we doing. They only know what they consider, what they see on the street corner Israelites, or what they consider the One West Israelites. So they haven't explored or dealt with other Hebrew Israelites. You know what I'm saying? See, and this has been the problem. That's why I try to show a difference. You know what I'm saying? To go into the house of consciousness, and I took Prince Asiel, Crown Prince Yosef, you know what I'm saying? Morey Kananya, myself. We try to show this righteous example to the house of consciousness. Brought them down to Chicago. Let them see the businesses that we build. What we doing throughout the world. At the end of the day, they didn't even respect that. It's a difference for saying you respect somebody and they work, but your actions are showing totally different. And that's the problem. Your actions cannot differ from what you're saying. And that's the problem with most of these people, brothers and sisters amongst the said black conscious community. Their actions are different, you see, than what they say. Muslim. I believe that the foundation of the Black conscious community has been infiltrated a long time ago with cats like Malaya Karunga, a whole bunch of the FBI been hit them guys. So the COINTELPRO effects, you could clearly see it in the Black conscious community. They've been damaged long before Israel. We have become damaged by association. You heard of that term, guilty by association. So the more and more we got around because I'm gonna tell you how this went down. Originally, most in New York, when it came to Israel, like in the 90s, late 80s, all that, when they heard about Israel, they thought of the original UPK, the ones on the street corner. They don't know about Torah on the street corner, like Shema Israel, you know, et cetera, Hashava, B'nai Zakwain, Abata Hebrew Coaches Center, the One. Like these guys that was on street corners before UPK existed. And even to this day, you'll see Shema and other students teaching. I was one that was on street corners teaching, but I'm talking about being Torah centered. But the bulk of the street teachers are in fact messianic. So when you see these dudes like House of Consciousness and others that deal with Israel, they only know about the one West, what they see. So when I came on the scene amongst them, it changed the whole paradigm because it was like they never seen this before. The only thing they seen was Israelites on street corners blowing out certain things. You know what I'm saying? That they really didn't have us use social media platform to spread the information. But in sense, spreading that information, self-conception jumped in, wedge to take place to the point that social media was being used as a mechanism to the achievements and accomplishments of the Israelites. And the one West was being used as a poster child, so to say, as what Israel looks like. And that's false in the sense of, you know, they say the Black Hispanics and Native Americans are Israel. From my standpoint, the Native Americans and the Hispanic are not Israelites. Now, there's Israelites in the midst of them people versus the so-called African Americans. The so-called African Americans are, in fact, the Israelites, but in the midst of them, there are people that are not Israel. So the difference is this: the bull Americans and West Indian Negroes are not Israel. So that alone just crushes the fact that we even involved with any of the wrong. Also, Afro Latinos, they are people whose DNA can trace back through the father, some type of E1, B1A, and L2, L3 in their DNA. So yeah, like I said though, family, I was just asking a question, like, what has the Black conscious community done for Israel? It's really vice versa. We done everything for them. Okay? We done everything for them. They didn't do anything for us. Excuse me. Y'all know I drank my brew beer. They didn't they didn't do anything for us. So they sit back us. So as you know, we close out, we go into a brief intermission, and then from there you know, out. We do. So, so listen to the intermission. Then from there, we closing out. Hallelujah. How do you deceive the whole world except the evil lie has been institutionalized? Who sit on the throne of lies? How do you deceive the whole world? Except that you have some Stanfords and some Yales and some Harvards and some Michigan States. How do you deceive the whole world? The devil has deceived the whole world. 2021, the mighty Hebrew, the mighty Hebrew, hallelujah. Nothing can stop Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalism. Rise and destroy worldwide. Israelite sovereign nationalism. Rise worldwide. No, escape. My turn. I metamorph orbits, time travel portal, the mighty Hebrew immortal, Yasha all's morals, over order, command to do, open doors, a raw bar, Hebrew, from the Peru, tribe of Judah, celestial Jew, old school rule, Elohim breathes through, like him please blow, trees on order, rise up, the stars have fallen, as I bear arms, bomb and remain calm, sign of the time from the wild, fear no man. Man, born old man, total mountain, damn, primal man, upright as he stand and run for commandments. 2/3 sheep from the Sandman, I reminisce back in the days. Pro chance, who stands praise, wave, hot top fades and finger waves. My blood royal being brave, lost souls buried deep in Philly graves. Find the Solomon, crystal cave like Casada. The two best got popped from gunfire. Wallace record from 8-track tapes that pop, record as they crack. CDs to digital visual. My flow kills shit, killing wickedness on tracks. Vicious, dark eclipse signs. For some be the end, ours just beginning. Open the yard mind, spectrum, prism, electric. I see visions from the mind. Down to the mind, who I man, Team B, I see, yo, I reign supreme. Team B, pointing like red beam. My turn, all y'all wanna learn. Smoke you down like I was smoking sure, but I'm not. Yo, beat like a clock. Get knocked out, fucking with the real ops. Yeah, the mighty Hebrew, 2021. Shout out to Hebrew Israelite soccer nationals all over the world. To my Lord. He said, yep. He said something, it's true. The Most High says to separate and be set up to be a set apart nation. Because the Most High, what do you say? Who we worship is set apart. And you'll be right. We gotta separate from these people. We can't, continue to deal with the rhetorics and the nonsense and the disrespect. You know what I'm saying? We have to now deal with what Yah has given us. That's the key. We have to deal with what Yah gives us. You know? So we're going to close this up. Again, y'all, the Black conscious community haven't done anything for us. We've done everything for them. I love y'all. We're gonna get it. Hallelujah. Yeah, it's my turn. Yeah, tell me keep fighting. More Yoel, more Isa, more got roots. Prince Kaz, Israelites all over the world. Kwam Yasha Allah Kuma Israel. Back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Crenshaw, Landine, be a divine being, CBI, 3D, Illuminati can't stop me. Non-ether, before BCE, we exist from now to infinity, infinity. Back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. Time travel past, fresh stroke, let's go. Miz, we don't play, expand, labyrinth, pinhead, boxed in, Tetris, blow, tie sticks. Scanners explode, mental bits into blitz, dark eclipse from cyclopeans, shadow hand, rock tickets, cradle. Fights two kicks from the new time. COVID-9 can stop. Team shot of universal mind. We divers, our past we stood in lava on Easter Island. Built by Remorhos, Elohim incarnate, Jacob the powers, desperado. Past 10 sentences for the future already written. From the profane, it was hidden like a hand unseen, trying to dose with vaccines. He machines, fine being who I be. Prince Landine, the mighty Hebrew, give you the spark. Those that bark without bite, we all rustle your heart. From the slums of Honey Park, back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Prince Landine, be a divine being, CBI, 3D, Illuminati can't stop me. Non-ether, before BCE, we exist from now to infinity, infinity. Back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future. HP, I was born, watching storms, down laymen and marching uniforms, leaving without form. She clothes where was born, dancing in the moonlight, grinning. Scene was grim, body tense from meditating strength within. Cosmic spoon spin to the wind from will, blacksmith. Endless, I mastered the balance. Yuga to the Buddha, blowing the blast to medulla, reaching the isolated world. I am so the endless. Stay focused, toasting the host. Yeah. We from coast to coast, back to the future, back to the future. Who I be, Elohim, Prince Landine, be a divine being, see beyond 3D. Illuminati can't stop me, non-ether, before BCE. We exist from now to infinity, infinity. Back to the future, back to the future, back to the future, back to the future.